You're too old.
Mr.
Should I play the jingle? No, let's just do the intro.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jourdan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jourdan.
Boom!
That's exactly it. Do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
That's it. We're going to make this happen today, baby. It's a Friday and it's sunny outside and it's springtime and it's impossible not to be in a good mood today.
Impossible. Not even the inactive chat room will put us into a bad mood. If you're too chicken to chat on Dan Jourdan Live, then I got nothing for you.
My daughter is in a wedding party or whatever, as the girls, all 3 or 4 girls
wearing the matching dresses, the whole
yes. And so prior to that, there's something called a shower, like a wedding shower that they do, a little thing. Oh, no, sure. I guess it's just for those people. And so I guess they go and they
rehearsal dinner or something, or
no, I don't know. Okay. All I know is there's a bunch of girls at the lake house right now. And so my poor son is going up and hanging out because apparently they're going to be out to 3 a.m. and they need somebody to drive. So he's like the designated driver. And he's staying at his friend's house, and they're going to call him, and I guess he's just going to drive these drunken girls around. And so that's what.
Would this be a bachelorette party? Is that what?
Yes, that's what it is.
Are you serious? You didn't know? Like, what is that thing where before you get married, right. Okay.
So doing that, all I know is they sent me pictures of they prepared a bunch of food and stuff, and they had pancakes, and there were 2 little pancakes and 1 elongated pancake connected together, like 2 that look like little round things, and then a long one in the middle that they put together. And so there's a bunch of those things that they're having for breakfast.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds like a real happening bachelorette party. It's the pancakes, the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole shebang. So, what are you doing? Hey, look, we have a talking microphone. See, make it big again. Like, look at that. You see it?
It's we're gonna have a little sword fight. Yeah,
let's
do that.
Yeah, we got that going on.
What happened? You were gonna you saw my magenta pop filter here, and you were gonna put yours on. It's too late now. Listen. The kibitzing is about to come over, and we know that, and what everyone tunes in early for, Dan, is the world-class segues that you're just known for around the globe.
So what happens is I'm doing things. I have my screen on this side for some reason. Usually it's on this side, another screen, and I'm all for blunging. I don't quite know what to do because you know what? For whatever reason, you always do things the same old way, not knowing why. You just kind of get lost into it, and things change, and then you think to yourself, what do I do now in this new world? Let's say I'm out of a job, or I'm trying to find a job and I have challenges. You have to look to do things a little different. You have to go to people who actually specialize in that which you need. And so right now, out of nowhere, I met earlier in the week the guy who might be the world's most innovative and established and innovated recruiter in the hardest part of the world. Imagine trying to get people to recruit to New York City, and he's able to do it. And if he can do that, and if he can make it there, he could make it anywhere, including the Dan Jourdan live show.
Wow.
So
it's up to you.
Further ado, please help me welcome my new friend, George Nikitiadis.
Hey there.
I know it's Nikitiadis, but I said Nicodemus anyhow because it's fun and I knew you could handle it.
Dan, only you can do that.
Yes, that's exactly right. So how are you doing, George?
I am doing good. It's Friday. Happy Friday, gentlemen.
Yes.
TGIF, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, do you find this? I have a statement. I think that my best sales days have always been from 3 to 5 on Fridays. Like, for whatever reason, people seem to calm down and I can get better conversations. Do you have certain days that it's easier for you to get a hold of people than others?
Oh, yeah, of course. As a recruiter, we live on the phone, so we're always trying to get a hold of people. And that's the one thing I tell everybody who gets into this business. If you have a thin skin and you get upset that nobody's calling you back, this might not be the business for you. But yeah, towards the end of the week, people are getting a little bit more relaxed, or maybe I'm just beating them down with all the calls I'm making. And they're finally going to say, hey, I'll pick it up and talk to George. But yeah, Friday afternoon is definitely a good time. And, as they see the light at the end of the tunnel, there's a libation waiting for them. It's going to be a great weekend. So, yeah, let's get a deal done and even make it a better weekend. So, sure.
Boom. Wait, so you're still old school cold calling, pounding away, doing the...
It's a proven way of doing things, and it works.
Oh, my gosh. Love it. This is a better call. So tell me, I had an experience actually just yesterday that hadn't happened to me in a long time. I can't remember the last time. Take me off my list. It was a woman. She was angry right off the bat. I did hear a crying baby in the background. It probably wasn't good, but I couldn't get anything. Take me off your list. Don't call me ever again. Click. Like, that hasn't happened to me in 5 years.
Yeah.
That
happens a lot.
You got any stories like that?
Oh, 100%. Take me off my list. Take me off your list. Or the best is I don't even say anything, and I'm not interested. So my retort has always been, I'm sorry, what aren't you interested in? That really is a shame. I'm actually calling from Publishers Clearinghouse, and you just won $1 million, but you're not interested. So I'm going to hang up. Yeah.
Do people even know what Publisher Clearinghouse is anymore?
Ever since Ed McMahon is gone, yeah,
You know what we do on this show when somebody says something that we've never heard before, or you have like great great
you doing
vocabulary.
Retort? Is retort yours?
No, Publishers Clearinghouse, that gets the confetti.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you get the confetti for that.
Yeah, I don't like anybody
Ed
that
McMahon,
can retort.
Right?
Anybody that can retort with a Publisher Clearinghouse gets confetti. There we go. Rocking in the house. So I was just on a call with a guy earlier who doing a little coaching on there. He has a different product. It was something else, but we had a little conversation, and he was making some cold calls for the first time. And so I gave him my one little, the first thing I would tell anybody that's making cold calls, I have one little like special thing that I do. I call it the 7 magic words. That's my little secret, which is instead of saying, never say, hi, how you doing today? Instead say, hey, I wonder if you can help me. And then go in there from there. That's my little thing. So if you had to give somebody a recommendation on like what's your number one cold calling skill or trick that you could impart to somebody that they can improve their skills, what would it be?
One of the things that I see a lot, in cold calling, especially when you're trying to train someone to do that, it's challenging. It's challenging to get through to somebody. And, they tell you your elevator pitch is 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it may be. Here in New York, it's probably 10 seconds. The thing I tell everyone is relax. Have a conversation with friends. Really, just that's what it's about. Don't try and go in there. Don't try and read a script. Be comfortable. Be natural. And it will come across that way. People will stop to listen to you as opposed to sounding robotic. Hello, my name is such and such, and I'm calling from here, and this is why I'm calling, and so on and so forth. You want to be comfortable. You want to be relaxed. You want to be natural. it will become a conversation amongst friends. That's where you get it. Let them tell you more about them, especially in the area that I focus in on with technology. These people really don't get to go home and tell their wives or their husbands about, what they developed today or what they worked on. Lend them an ear. You will get an education from them if you allow them to talk to you.
Listen, right? Active listening.
Lend them an ear. What if your name actually was such and such?
Well, it could be,
oh, my name is such and such. Oh, hi, such. How you doing? I mean, that's a good name for like a dog. If you get your next dog is going to be such and such.
Sometimes you just run out of ideas, right?
So such, let me ask you. So in recruiting in this world, are you do you do the actual head hunting? They used to call it head hunting. I don't know if they call that anymore. That may or may not be politically incorrect. Did I say that?
It's not PC. And, Dan, don't worry. We're not going to cancel you.
All right.
I am an executive recruiter. I am whatever you want me to be that day of the week.
Well, so your client, the people that you do work for, are the clients that you have. Those are the companies that are looking to hire people, and they hire you. Do they ever call you and to say, "Hey, listen, we want that guy. See if you can get that guy"? They're not supposed to do that, right? And if they do know that guy that they want, they can go out and get them themselves. But a lot of times what goes on is you get to know your clients, you get to know the companies, the hiring companies, and you get to know the environments. When you get to know the environments, then it goes beyond, I'm looking for a developer or I'm looking for an engineer. You try and fit the personalities in there as well. You try and get the right type of people that will end up getting into an organization. And number one, they're going to find it as a home. They're going to love where they are. Secondly, they fit in well with the group. So that whole process doesn't take a month or whatever it may be to get acclimated. It's, again, like old friends. You get moving and you get working and it works well. One of the worst things you can do is find someone who's technically savvy, knows what they're looking for, but just doesn't fit well into the group, doesn't fit well into the department. And it's like introducing a cancer, and it can tear the whole place apart. So it's really important to go beyond just, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z in terms of skill set. I want a personality. I want the type of person that's going to fit well in this or in our organization, in our group. We like to go out for beers after work, or we have a bowling league, or, our families get together for cookouts on the weekends, or whatever it may be. Or we're into fantasy sports. We do fantasy football, fantasy baseball, this, that, and the other thing. So, you kind of find that sort of, piece.
And you're doing that. I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Well, no, that cultural fit thing, is that still a thing? Like, do companies still have? I get the feeling that things are so much more transactional now.
Yeah. I think with the whole hybrid or work from home concept, some of that interactive type stuff is not there, but you're still looking for the right personality. And it might even be more difficult when you're doing it work from home. You're doing it via a video chat or a phone call or whatever it may be. And it doesn't, the concept, the aspect that you're trying to get across, the personality that you have might not meld with them. Someone might take something you say the wrong way. If you have a bad person, a sick sense of humor, or something along those lines. Someone might, basically the perception could be off. So you kind of really try and work to make sure that the person fits into the group, not only technically, but also within the personality of the group, the makeup of the group. It's going to be like a glove or a left sock or what may have you.
I didn't know that technical people actually have personalities. I'm sorry, Chris, you were talking.
No. Come on.
Do you feel like that is the value that you add to companies is sort of like that 10,000-foot view of a person and their fit, not necessarily what, their credentials, how they're qualified on paper, but really understanding, okay, they're looking for this type of person. This is a type of company, and, sort of identifying personality traits. And is that the value that you bring, and how do you go about, like, what's the process in that?
100%. And it goes on both ends as well, not only working with my clients who are hiring people, but working with the candidates that I'm placing. We walk that thin line trying to support both and keep both parties' interests at heart, where we try and make that match. To give you an example, a lot of my clients are in finance. And there are some financial institutions that you look at that you're going to work quite a few hours. You're going to work a lot. We had a story in the paper not too long ago, a week ago, of a gentleman who unfortunately passed away. And they're looking at the amount of work, what he was doing at that certain organization, and trying to change how things are done, because they are burning the candle at both ends, as one would say. But I'll look at a financial institution, and when I'm talking to a candidate, I say, listen, are you looking for specifically this type of work? You want to make X amount of money, so on and so forth. And I will say to them honestly, if you're young, you don't have a family right now, sure, let's look at that type of company. You're going to make a ton of money, but you're going to work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. And that's really what it's going to come down to. You're going to be, if you break it down to an hourly wage, you might be making minimum wage when it's all said and done. So it's really important to try and find the right type of people that want to go into that environment. The last thing I want to do is, number one, either have a client call me up and say, this isn't working out, we're going to let them go, and I have to replace them. Or a candidate who just took a job and say, George, this isn't what I signed up for. I need to get out of here. You need to get me, either I'm going back to where I came from if they'll take me back, or find me something else. That's no good for anyone, because we didn't succeed at what we set out to do.
Oh, that's a bummer. So how long does it take in your world for like an executive to be placed? Like how many interviews do they do? And what's that process?
It depends on the organization. It's all dependent on, number one, how motivated are they to hire? Number two, it's also the style of the hiring manager. Sometimes hiring managers know exactly what they're looking for. They're confident in their decisions. They're going to make it, possibly have one other technical person in the group talk to them just to get a sign off there. But for the most part, they know what they want. Then there's others who are very scared to pull the trigger. So I like him or her, but I want you to talk to him. Tell me what you think. And then we'll have HR get involved. Let's have them talk to them, see what goes on there. So they wait for a huge consensus. And, I've always said this, you can interview people so many times. You can interview Jesus Christ and you might find a flaw. So,
hey, easy, George. Whoa, hey, we have a lot of faith-based people.
I am faith-based as well. The Lord woke me up this morning, and it's a good day. So.
He's a
good save,
Greek
George.
Orthodox. Nikitiadis. That's Irish, right?
It was actually Irish Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. You see that? That's quickness. You don't get that. There we go.
Only with George Nikitiadis. That's right.
So, are you full on Greek thing with the breaking of the plates and you break the plate, Opa, or whatever they scream?
Oh yeah,
Opa. Yeah.
Opa.
Opa.
Yeah.
Oompa Loompa is from something else, but yeah, we have some of those too.
That's cool. You've been back lately? And
last summer, actually. We were fortunate enough to take the family back, show them where
awesome.
Grandma and Grandpa are from, and see family that they normally wouldn't see. So it was great. It was great. Yeah. We have the best of both worlds in this family. I am a first-generation Greek. My wife is first-generation Italian. So we have the una faccia, una razza, as they say.
Wow,
And you probably
that's
eat
good.
really well because, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell.
I mean,
Well,
I'm not making a comment about your weight. I'm just saying,
eh,
like, Greek food and Italian food.
Work done.
Yes. Yes.
yeah, everything's delicious. They put lasagna in pita bread, and
That's it.
so do you what about family? How many kids? 300, 200?
Wow.
We have 3 boys, 3 lovely
Three
boys.
strapping boys.
Yes.
Look at that. That's strong. Italian Greek. Oh my God. I feel sorry for the girls in that high school that they went to. I mean,
Oh,
that's like,
they're all Adonises, of course.
yeah, I know. I mean, it's how they roll it. That's awesome. So, how did you get into this whole? Well, actually, before we get into that, why should I use you? I mean, I kind of want to use you because you seem to be like the nicest man in America, and like you could read people. I kind of like that. But is there one part that you're especially good at?
Building
What would you say?
relationships. Building relationships. I will tell you, I've been doing this for 30 years now. And the one thing I say to everyone, I'm in an industry that is populated by more used car salesmen than the actual auto industry has. I try and set myself apart from that. I will go the extra mile to find out what you're looking for. The pieces that are not on a piece of paper, on a job description. And I can find them because of being in this business for 30 plus years. I've built those relationships. Everyone that I work with, clients or candidates, they are people that I've spoken with, people that I've worked with. Gentleman I'm working with right now, who I placed back in the mid 90s doing executive support of all things, is currently the CTO at a major healthcare provider. And, we've stayed in contact the whole time. That's what it's all about. Just basically building those relationships and keeping them going. It's an industry of relationships. We try and build strong ones. That's the most important piece.
That's exactly the right way to do it. So you're in that industry. You've grown up with it. So people that you've started with, obviously they're in higher positions now that they could help you for referrals. Like, do you use them for, and I was going to say poaching. Do you use them as recruitment candidates, or do?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. It's always easier for me to go with someone who's been referred to me and they've worked with someone I know, and you'll get that stamp of approval. Joe is awesome at what he does. He is creme de la creme. Put him in front of anything, he'll solve it. When I have that, I can end up going back to a client and very comfortably and confidently saying, this is your man or your woman. You need to sit and speak with them. A half an hour conversation, you won't be sorry. Again, I try and make sure that we find the best candidates always. But when someone comes with a seal of approval like that from someone I know and I trust that I've known for multiple years, it's huge. It's huge.
Is the expertise? I know you've got 25 plus years in doing this in the recruiting space. Is your expertise mostly based in sort of IT and or is it is the Venn diagram a little bit larger? Are there other sort of industries and businesses that you specialize in?
So the interesting part about it is when I fell into this business, I wasn't doing IT. I was doing retail, of all things. So working with buyers, merchandise managers, those type of things. And I fell into this industry because the person I started working for, he started back in the day when they would mail resumes to clients and wait for the U.S. Postal Service to get a resume on someone's desk and get a response back. He started faxing, and then from faxing, he wanted to computerize, automate his environment and be able to email resumes, have a database, so on and so forth. I set that all up for him and basically was able to start recruiting because I don't have a problem getting on the phone and talking to people. So it was an awesome day where I did my first deal. And to this day, there's moments where I kiss the ground that I walk on that I got into this business, or I curse the clouds that I ever even found this business. So
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a million things can happen, in the space between acceptance and when they start. You
oh,
know, you,
yeah, yeah.
you never know. I mean,
Yeah, that
all,
process, that's a process in itself. I always love when I get people and they're friends of mine who will come to me and say, yeah, it's time for me to make a move. I need a change. I said, okay, let's talk. So we'll start to go over their background, what they're doing. They've been at their current organization for 15 years. I said, okay, let me be very blunt and honest with you. You know you're going to probably not go anywhere, right? What do you mean? I'm looking at, I can't stand this place. I said, yeah, it's easier said than done. The holding of the hand is a huge process, taking them from interview stage to offer stage to acceptance to being able to go back to their manager and say, hey, I'm leaving. And to be able to withstand the onslaught of, no, don't go. We'll give you money. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. We'll give you what you've been looking for, what you've been asking for, and we haven't given to you. But now that you're leaving, okay, we'll give it to you. So it's one of those things where that process does not end until, as I like to say, until their first check has been deposited. Basically, their first salary check has been deposited into their account. Anything,
grass is greener, right?
Yeah. It's a
and
process.
it's a fight, and all of a sudden that person's also having go on interviews and selling themselves again. They haven't done that in 15 years,
Right.
and there's rejection involved in that, and people don't realize in sales, George and I deal with this every day. Man, I'm rejected, 6 times before you guys have had your first cup of coffee, Chris Stone. People don't reject you. They are, oh, Chris Stone's in the house. Anything you want. Here I am.
No, I thrive in rejection. That's my space. That's my wheelhouse. Reject me, Dan. I dare you.
But it's very comfortable to stay where you are, and and that lends itself. George, how do you feel like tough positions? Like, for instance, you're in New York City, or even in upstate New York, or what have you. There are certain benefits and challenges that come with New York life.
Yeah.
How do you overcome that? Someone coming from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, where the wall is perfect, sunny all the time.
It's sunny all the time. The house plants are always alive.
Yeah, that's right.
It's nice. It's nice. At the end of the day, if you find the right person for the right organization, those intangibles, I can't say it enough. It's like putting on an old comfortable pair of slippers. The fit is right. That's the most important. At the end of the day, it is just finding that person that wants to be there. And I'll say it. I mean, one man's meat is another man's poison. I always say that. It's always, someone might walk into an environment and say, no way. Not even close. And someone else might be, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I want to be here. I want to work with these guys. They're doing some really cool stuff. How do we make it work? How do we make it happen? If we have that on both parties, then we can make anything happen. But it's got to be there. It's got to be, they got to want to be there. And then I've had the companies who want these people who don't want to go. We'll throw money at them. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll do the other thing. I'm not going to say, no, don't throw money at them, but you need to see what the hot buttons are with these candidates. What are they looking for? It's not all about money. I think after, first it was 2008 in the downturn, but then after COVID, we've all come to realize it's not all about money. It's about, family. It's about having that time to see your kids' softball game, baseball game. It's about seeing your daughter graduate. It's about getting to a bachelorette party on the weekend, which sounds really, really awesome, Dan.
Not driving them around.
Not driving them around by any stretch of the imagination. But listen.
I don't know. Vincent. Driving around a bunch of drunken girls.
I'll do it in your car, because if anybody throws up in my car, we're gonna have a problem.
That's a great segue. I was going to ask you, like, so many people are talking about how COVID changed, culture and in businesses in general, and there's a lot of stuff going on that you're dealing with in IT, and I think, working from home, I always felt like, that whole perception of being in the office versus not being in the office and being remote, that whole thing is sort of flipped. But in your seat, what do you see from a recruiting perspective? Is it as catastrophic as most people are sort of like using in the headlines? Is it somewhere in between? Like, what's your take? Is it a massive shift that's happened since 2020, 2021? Or is it just, is it shifting back the way it was pre-COVID? Like, what's your take?
So I don't think it'll ever shift 100% back to what it was pre-COVID. I don't think that will ever happen. But, I do see, and obviously when COVID was happening and then shortly after COVID, I would get George, find me something that's fully remote. They're starting to push me back into the office. I don't want to go. We saw that COVID. Prior to COVID, we were pushing unified communication and collaboration for probably 5-10 years. The ability to stay connected from any device, anywhere in the world, as long as you had the internet, you'd be able to do your work and, interact and all that great stuff. And that's a lovely thing. But I do think that there are times where you do want to get away from, your home office. You want to get back into society. You want to see what's going on in the office. You want to see someone, as opposed to this, which is not bad being on a video call, but it's sometimes you need to wear pants, man. That's what it comes down to.
That's true. Everybody stand up all together.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's dependent. I mean, I've had people who have come to me and said, "Listen, I need to get back into an office. I can't work from home anymore.
Yeah.
My kids are driving me nuts. My wife, she thinks I'm here and I can do whatever I want. No, I gotta work. So
you know what? I don't think it's good for marriages. I get up, even like today I'm working from home. I try not to do it as much, but I'll get up and I leave in the morning anyhow. I just got to get out and I drive and I'll go someplace, do some work in the morning at a Starbucks or something, and then I come back. I gotta get out the house. And, everybody needs their alone time. I think that's something that people need to know. By the way, you said one man's meat is another man's poison. So what's your favorite meat? I mean, is it like lamb, shawarma? Is it gyro meat? Is it?
No.
Meatloaf?
No.
Yeah, meatloaf.
Meatloaf is good, actually. We do. Sure. We're healthy here in this house. We do turkey meatloaf, but meatloaf is good. If we're talking meat, there's nothing.
We're always talking meat.
They're always
on this show.
We have a side show, George. It's only about meat. It's a podcast about meat.
Hopefully I'll get invited on that one. I was lucky enough to make it here. Hopefully I get invited back.
We get the sweats often. Yeah.
But T-bone on the grill.
T-bone, let's go.
I think that's got to be a new question we have to ask everybody.
What's your favorite meat?
What's your favorite
meat? I would run that by the reviewers first.
Yeah, good call. Thank you, George. Thank you. Someone who has some sort of funnel, some sort of buffer.
BYOM.
I would have seen you more of as a Euro man, more like a lamb. No.
Listen, a good lamb, not a lamb chop, but rack a lamb. Rack a lamb.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
I love it, but I really a T-bone, a nice arugula, tomato and onion salad. And a nice Barolo.
Nice little balance going on there.
Do you drink any wine with that?
The Barolo.
Oh, the Barolo is a wine?
It's an Italian.
I thought it was like a chocolate candy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Rolo. Oh, yeah.
We need
that's it.
clearly, right. George is bringing the culture quotient on this show.
We get a little. Dan, should I go back a little Riuniti maybe?
Riuniti
on ice.
A little Asti Spumante. Yeah, as long as it comes in a box, stands into it.
Aldo Cello.
Why are we naming like bad wines from the 70s all of a sudden? What happened?
Nothing wrong with a gallon of Carlo Rossi. Come on now.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Listen,
if it isn't Boone's Farm or Mad Dog 2020, I want to have nothing to do with it.
You want to laugh, and I know we've gone off on a tangent, but
hey,
everyone used to poo-poo the screw top wines.
Oh.
Not a bad thing, man.
Oh,
not a bad
oh no, absolutely. There are some really great wines that I've had suggested to me by sommeliers, and I'll look at the bottle and I'll look at them and laugh at them because it has a screw top. It doesn't have a cork in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that, funny, you almost got me. And they're like, no. And like, they sort of explain it to you. Like it's a thing, screw top wines are not all bad. Most of them are. The ones in the box though. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
I'm a Manischewitz type of guy.
Oh man, of course you are.
Actually, I'm going to a Shabbat dinner tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is nice. So we're going out there. George, you want to come?
Shabbat dinner?
Yeah. Well,
in Atlanta, I can possibly be down there by about 8:00 tonight. Sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is a short hop, skip, and a jump from LaGuardia
George,
to
and
ATL.
That's why people work with you, George, because you'll do anything.
100%.
To improve the relationship, he'll do anything for the job. So, it is a tough economy out there right now.
Yes.
What are you seeing? Is it a buyer's or seller's market? Is it a candidate or client market?
It's a client market, and the reason it's a client market is because the hiring is very, very selective right now. With everything we have going on in the world, with conflicts, it's an election year here in the States. A lot of companies are sitting on the sideline waiting to see what happens. We're starting to see some percolation. We're starting to see some movement. Some jobs are coming open. But again, clients are being very, very selective in what they're doing, who they're hiring, what they're looking for. It is definitely a buyer's market at this moment. But again, we sit here long enough. It's like the pendulum. It swings from one end to the next. And we'll get to the other side here shortly, I'm sure, as well.
So let's say you have, let's say Bill Gates decided to get back into the biz, and he wants to work for some company, and he comes to your door. I mean, any company would hire Bill Gates, I'm assuming. So is that still the case? I remember there used to be like an old saying, a quality, the best candidate wins type of thing. Like
100%, 100%. And I'm glad you brought up the term, because that's one thing that I do kind of try and differentiate myself from other recruiters, is that I'm about quality, not quantity. In days past, it's always been get as many resumes, get as many candidates over to a client as you possibly can. And one of the things I tell all my prospective clients as I'm talking to them is, if you're looking for me to dump my database on your desk, not going to happen. I'm not the right recruiter for you. You give me a job order you want me to fill, I'm going to send you 4 or 5 resumes. Out of those 4 or 5 resumes, you're going to interview probably 3, maybe 4. You're going to hire one out of those. It's all about saving them time. They have me so they don't have to go through hundreds of resumes, thousands of resumes even. I try and make sure I give them the best. It's all about quality, not about quantity.
What's the quickest? Do you have any stories of quick turnarounds?
Oh, quick turnarounds. Quickest turnaround was a day, actually. And that's the exception, not the rule, obviously. But somebody called me and said, hey, this is hot. I need this filled. We've been struggling with it, so on and so forth. And there was someone I had just spoken to, I knew, who was out there. And I said, it's kismet. You calling me, us connecting, it's just, it is what it is. Let's go. And by the end of the day, an offer was made. It was accepted. He started the day after, actually.
Did it work out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and you're not going to bring me on here to tell stories about it not working out now, are you?
Yeah, well, but I'm sure that happens.
Oh,
all that stuff.
Of course. But that was a good one.
Actually, what is the definition of working out? A year, 2 years, 3 months?
The definition of working out. So when you say working out, it's an open term, right? Someone has asked me, what is job satisfaction for you? And job satisfaction for me is for someone to call me 6 months in, a year, whatever it may be, and say, George, I am so happy. Thank you so much for bringing this organization to my attention, and vice versa, having the organization call me up and saying, hey, you did such a good job for us here. I need you to go find me this, this, and this. That's what job satisfaction is for me.
Got it. All right. So, who are you? Like, who's your general? I know you work in IT and in healthcare, but what types of positions? Director of this, director of that, or manager of this, manager of that?
So the hot buttons now are AI and so on. So someone who is in that strategic space, digital transformation, machine learning, AI as a whole, which is just such a huge term, and really, it's not Terminator all over again, as one would say, but it is definitely something where I will work with companies who are looking to create change. I will work with companies who are looking to upgrade environments that might have gone stale on them. A lot of times, you have companies, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but healthcare is one of them where, they get all excited about getting a new CAT scan or MRI machine. They don't care about IT as the way it works. And, as long as it's working, it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you need to keep up on all of that. So manager of infrastructure, manager of development, CIO, CTO, I love working with all of it. And there's no upper or lower level that I won't work with. Even if a company wants, a help desk associate or desktop associate. I mean, user experience and that side of the desktop. One of the things that companies started to realize is that we push out so much new technology, so many new applications to these users. We don't even ask them if they really need it. Do they really use it? Do they really want it? Companies have started to look at, okay, do we need to upgrade this to the latest and greatest version? Or are people happy with what we have? As long as it's not going end of life, can we still use this? There was a point in time where if it was the latest and greatest technology out there, we needed to have it. Well, no one's even clicked on the icon. No one's even used that application. Why are we deploying it? Why are we paying for licenses for it? So that user experience side of the business is also huge.
You know what I notice, George? Is it okay if I call you George?
Of course.
Okay. You don't say or ah. I mean, you have a strong command of the English language. Is this your first language, or do you speak any other languages?
His first thing he says is right. I love it.
No. I speak Greek as well. But this is my first language, born and raised in the United States. That's what we learned. But I do speak Greek. I had to go to school for 6 years actually. After American, English school, I would go to Greek school, learn how to read it, write it, speak it. Also my grandparents raised me, so I always say if I wanted to eat, I needed to learn how to speak Greek because they didn't speak English. So that was kind of it.
What's Greek for you're hired?
Oh, God. I don't even know. God, you
really? They don't hire anyone?
No. We all live on the beach. We sell souvlaki on the beach. That's what goes on in Greece.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's the best thing ever. There's your tagline.
That's what I'm retiring to, Dan.
Yeah, I'm
gonna be selling souvlaki on the beach.
Souvlaki on the beach. That's awesome.
Wow.
I gotta put it on my website. That's gonna be the text. Do you want to sell souvlaki on the beach? Come talk to me.
That's it.
I love it.
I think it's great. So really in this day, who do you work with in the companies? Do you work with, like, who can I refer to you? By the way, I'm backtracking now. I made a connection. We had a gal on the show last week. Remember Chris Stone, Karen Sobolojewski?
Oh yes.
Yes. Very smart. You mentioned AI. I think I connect you with her yesterday. George, go ahead and reach out to her. She's expecting to hear from you with all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so who do you work with within the companies? Do you deal with the HR people, or do you deal with the actual, I don't know, the hiring managers of that division?
So, we need to work with human resources because they hold the keys to the kingdom. So we have to play nicely in the sandbox always. Mm-hmm. It is always easiest to work with the hiring manager because we get it directly from the horse's mouth as to what they want, what they're looking for, what the team is like, and tell you the intangibles that a piece of paper can't tell you. So, I'm open to speaking with anybody that will speak to me. Actually, if you want to be my friend, I'll be a friend. Sure.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's his intangible. He'll do anything.
Whatever it takes.
He doesn't care. So and these people that you're calling and all that stuff. What's it like to work with you? What's like the communication schedule and how would it work? Let's say, you know what, we need somebody right now. What's step one in working with George?
Let me step back for a second. You mentioned communication. I believe to be successful in this business, you need strong lines of communication. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have clients that will just send me send me a description of position. I can read this 20 times to Saturday and it still doesn't, I'm looking at words. I need to get to talk to someone to see what they're really looking for. 9 out of 10 times, that's probably been written by somebody who's not even the hiring manager. So we really need to end up finding what they're looking for. So I truly believe in strong lines of communication. I will make myself available whenever they're available. I still get the odd looks at times if my phone rings at 9 o'clock and my wife's like, "Who's that calling you at 9 o'clock?" Well, it's work. There is no 9 to 5 anymore in any industry, I think. So, I will make myself available, especially because we're international as well. And, working with clients who have presence in the UK, presence in Singapore, so on and so forth, we end up doing what we need to do.
Got it. So let's say I am working. So what is that communication? If do I get a recap on Wednesdays or something? Like I'm looking for a CTO.
So if you want to recap, we can have a catch-up call once a week. I have clients who will do that and they look for that, and that's great. I also will end up putting together a list, an Excel spreadsheet of these are the candidates that were sent through. This is where we are in the process. I think you need to speak to this one, and this one. Maybe we might have overlooked them, whatever it may be. But again, just keeping things moving forward, because it's not everyone's number one priority to get a position filled. So we want to keep people on schedule. We want to keep them on track, just to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks.
All right. So what is your, again, working in New York where you are and all this, what's your success rate?
My success rate, I get openings, I would say comfortably 75 to 80%.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's huge, actually.
Yeah.
That's when you get those.
I don't get a lot of openings, Dan. I don't get a lot of openings.
That's right.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
From the 4 last year, we filled 3 of them.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That worked out. Well, that's excellent. So listen, how does somebody get a hold of you? And will you talk to like candidates as well? Let's say somebody's out of work and.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'll talk to everyone, because you never know where that conversation can go. And sitting in this seat doing what we do, especially during times like now, like these days where it's a tight market, talking to candidates is important, because you're going to end up working with them at some point in time if you're not working with them now. Also, they need to hear someone's voice. They've been beaten down. There's only so much rejection one person can take. And, we end up playing psychiatrist for them as well. Sometimes talking people off the ledge. It's part of the game. It's part of the process.
Well, I think so. As for your first podcast, what'd you think? I think you did great. What do you think?
I can't wait to come back if you'll have me back.
Okay, look at
Let's
that.
just go for another couple hours. You got nowhere to be, right, Dan?
Yeah, that's it. You're very natural and easygoing, and it's easy to see why people would want to do business with you and go to geotechcorp.com. And what do you think of Chris Stone? Is he unbelievable?
I like Chris Stone. I definitely dig the magenta cover for his microphone.
Do you see how I switched
something that's not been mentioned, R2D2 in the background. That's
yes.
Good eye. Good eye, George Nikitiadis.
He doesn't mess around, that Chris Stone.
That's...
By the way, any of those huge healthcare companies, they could use some well-produced podcasts and things to market their company as well. So when you see those jobs come up as a fractional type of assist, there's no one better. Chris, you go all over the world, don't you?
We're global. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was global. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on, George. I know
Thank you.
It's always intimidating when you have to be with me. I understand that, but
you have quite an aura, Dan.
You managed to pull through great, and I feel as if I feel so comfortable when you're around here. It's almost as if I'm already serving souvlaki on the beach. And for all of those you watching, you can get the same thing if you call my man George. You guys are the best. Stick around for a second, George, before we go. But eat well, live long, and prosper, and you guys go get them today.
Eat a T-bone.